All right, today we're going to talk about the Andy Warhol project. It's a project that we're going to be using Photoshop for. Some of you guys haven't used Photoshop, but this will kind of get you started with it. As we look at the directions, obviously they're located on Google Classroom. You can print them if needed. The first step to this project is finding a photo that works well for you. You're probably going to want to go out to some sort of social media platform and grab a picture. It does have to be of yourself, though, so make sure you're finding an appropriate picture. If you can't find anything on a social media platform, you're more than welcome to just take your cell phone and go take a picture in front of a white wall. It probably would actually be easier for you to take a picture and then email it to yourself than trying to grab one off of the internet. As you can tell, the photo we're going to be looking for, we want to have a high contrasting foreground to background, and the one that you're looking at on the directions here obviously has a white background that has no distraction in it at all. So with that being said, I'm going to take a picture that maybe you would get off of the internet and show you how to do a little bit of work to get it to kind of work for this project. But like I said, taking a picture would probably be the easiest. So in step one here, it says open up your design or open up your photo in Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've already got one picked out. I'm going to use my daughter Blair. You can see this picture was taken outside, so there is a background to it. We would want to try to remove as much of that background as possible, so we're just left with her. There's a couple different ways you could do it. The directions do tell you to come in and do Control-J, make a copy of your background, turn off the original by clicking the eye, and then there's a couple different types of tools we could use to make this work. You'd have the quick select, the magic wand, or you've got your various erasing tools over here. I know it's going to work, so I'm going to take the quick selection tool based off of this. Quick selection tool works well if there's high contrasting areas between the background and the foreground. This works for me. You can use the bracket keys on the keyboard to increase or decrease the size of the brush. I'm simply going to drag through the background area. You can see it did a fairly good job. It did come in here and get the apple, so I'm going to hold the Alt key on the keyboard, and I'm going to see that the cursor turns to a mouse. I can drag through that area a little bit. So now I've selected just that tip of the apple there. If I want to add more to my selection, I can click and drag. Again, oops, got too much. We'll do a Control-Z. Make that a little bit smaller, drag through that area. It doesn't want to get it, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, see if I can't quite get it. Yeah, there we go, got it. The more you zoom in, the better your selection is going to be. So once I've got a selection made, I can then press the delete key on the keyboard, and that stuff will disappear. I could work my way across the top of the screen as well, eventually getting to a point that looks like that. So with that being said, let's finish this up real quick. Here, push delete. Over here, got some of her hat. You kind of see that right there. So we got to come in and hold the Alt key, kind of select along there. Bam, got that. Delete. And there should be a little bit of green left over here. Probably want to get this jacket as well. And there we go. Looking pretty good. So I'm going to throw this away because that was from a practice layer. The next thing you want to do is take a look at the directions. If we're taking a look at them, step 2 talks about changing some of the colors of the skin, right? We want to make sure that when we do what's called a threshold, that we're able to get a good contrasting of white areas and dark areas. So let's go take a look at what an original threshold would look like on this photo without anything being done. If I go to Image, Adjustment, Threshold, like the directions tell you to, I have a selection made right now, so it's not going to work. Image, Adjustment, Threshold. There's my just basic threshold. If I go all the way to the right, it's going to be black. If I go all the way to the left, it's going to be white. So I'm trying to find myself a happy medium. Like right now, I can see some of her lips. I don't have any of her eyes, her nose, the top of the apple. So there's obviously some pieces. If I work it back to here, it's not bad. You want to have a good contrast between black and white so that we can have some really good coloring in the end. But we don't want to click OK right now. I'm going to remember the number 107. That's going to be my target that I'm going to shoot for. So I got to try to make some of these light areas pop with color a little bit more. So to do that, I need to use my burn tool or my dodge tool. So if I come over here, I click and hold on, if I can find it, go back to the directions really quick, the little hand underneath the eye, right? So there's a smudge, there's the type tool. I don't see it on here. Let's go back to the essentials. We've got some more tools now. We can close this down. Here's the sponge. So dodge, just like it says, will take color away. It's going to lighten the area. Burning is going to darken the area. So I may potentially want to burn, obviously, around the top of hat here, right? We want to probably increase that area. So we're going to darken those up. And why did that pop out of there? Come in here, see how I can darken these edges up. We want to create nice contrast between that background and foreground. It may not look like it right now, but you definitely need to have it. So we're going to come over, switch this to highlights, get in here. If you right click, you can change the size of your brush and the hardness if you would like, or you can use those bracket keys. You can see if I come in here and paint the edges of these balls, I'm really going to want to over exaggerate what's going on here so that they show up, right? So keep on doing this. If I come back in here, I go to image, adjustments, and I go to threshold, and I said 107 was going to be my number that I wanted to shoot for. You can start to see that I am getting some of that black to start to show up there. So we're going to really get in here and darken these up a little bit more if we can. Come here, maybe get some shadows into them. Maybe increase our exposure so it's just really intense. As you can see, as we paint along those edges, things will start to show up. All right. Zoom out a little, go back and check it. Image, adjustment, threshold. All right, so you can see we start to get those pieces put together. We could use a little bit of lightning. We want to get some of those lips back that she's got there, so we'll go to dodge. We'll open it up a little bit, make a bigger brighter swatch there. Go image, adjustment, threshold. Now you can see she's starting to get a lip. Maybe I took a little too much, so we'll flip this back over to burn. Get some of her lip back in there. Give her some eyes. Give her some nose there. The pimples to come back in. And we can go image, adjustment, threshold. Zoom out. Well, we're starting to look like her. We could potentially lighten up the, so I push enter. So if you do that, do Control Z, right? I won't step back anymore. So I need to step back in time. If you make a mistake like that, you just got to cancel. There it is. Hey, one more check here. This process takes a while. Just got to keep on going back and forth trying to get it to work. We obviously want to have some contrast between her fingertips and the apple. Otherwise, when we color that, things will be kind of weird. So let's zoom in on her fingers real quick. Come over here, get our burn tool because we want to make that darker. Just kind of find the right piece. I think these are probably going to be mid-tones that will pop up. Get a little bit darker. Right? You want to at least have a little bit of outline to follow when you are working on your photo. So this video is running out of time. I'm going to have to stop it and start up again.